Hey gardening friends, ready to grow healthier plants, bigger harvests, and smarter gardens? Let's get started.
What if the most powerful pest control weapon in your garden has been sitting in your kitchen drawer this whole time, and the billion-dollar garden industry has been quietly hoping you never figure that out? Welcome to The Smart Gardener. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, because we share real, practical gardening knowledge that no garden center will ever put on their shelves. Here is the truth. Every spring, millions of Americans drive into town, walk down that aisle that smells like chemicals and money, and spend $40, $60, sometimes $80 on sprays and powders for aphids, slugs, ants, and fungus. They go home, they spray, and 10 days later, the bugs are back. So they drive in again. That cycle is not an accident. It is a business model. Today I am going to show you exactly how a single box of baking soda that costs less than $1 handles most of what those expensive bottles promise. And I am going to be straight with you about what it cannot do, because that honesty is just as important as everything else I am about to share. Let me take you back about 30 years. Every spring, I did the same thing. I drove into town, walked into that garden center aisle that smells like chemicals and money, and I loaded up. A bottle for the aphids, a box of bait for the ants, slug pellets, fungus dust, $40, $60, sometimes more. And here is the part that still burns me. The aphids came back in 10 days. The ants found a new road. And that bottle that said reapply every 7 days was just a polite way of saying, come back and buy me again. My father never spent a dime on any of that. His generation kept a box of baking soda on the windowsill and used it for everything in the garden. Back then I thought he was just being old and stubborn. Turns out, he was the smart one, and I was the one being sold to. And the numbers back that up in a way that ought to make every gardener angry. The home and garden pesticide market in North America hit $3.2 billion in 2023. Americans spread an estimated 80 million pounds of synthetic pesticides on their lawns and gardens every single year. Not because every one of those applications was necessary, mostly because that is what they were trained to do. So let me tell you what baking soda actually is, because once you understand the science, everything else makes sense. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. Its pH sits at around 8.3, which makes it alkaline. Most garden pests and the fungal diseases that travel with them are built to survive inside a very narrow comfort zone. Baking soda pulls them right out of it. On the surface of a leaf, on the skin of a slug, inside the digestive system of an ant. The chemistry shifts and they cannot function. That is the whole secret, and it fits in a $1 box. Let's start with slugs, because this one works fast. And if you grow hostas, you already know the damage. Slugs feed at night, hide during the day, and leave behind irregular holes and silver slime trails that ruin your foliage for the entire season. Extension specialists at the University of Illinois identify slugs as the single biggest threat to hosta plants. Here is why baking soda stops them cold. A slug survives on a layer of moisture-rich slime. Baking soda is a salt, and salt pulls moisture. Sprinkle a thin line of dry baking soda around the base of the plants they love, and along the trails where they travel, just after evening falls. Think of it like a light dusting of powdered sugar on a donut. Not a pile, just enough. Do it on dry ground only, because wet soil kills its effectiveness. And use a light hand every time. Too much sodium building up in the same spot, season after season, compacts the soil, hurts drainage, and eventually damages the roots you are trying to protect. Aim at the pests, not the soil. Now aphids are a different problem entirely, and what I'm about to tell you changes the way you think about them forever. Aphids are born pregnant. No mating required. One female produces up to 5 offspring every single day for 30 days straight. At temperatures between 70 and 81 degrees Fahrenheit, a newborn reaches adulthood in just 7 to 8 days and immediately starts reproducing. Populations can increase 50 times in a single week. That is why you see a few on Monday and the whole plant is covered by the following weekend. To stop them, mix 1 quart of water with 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of mild liquid soap, and a splash of vegetable oil if you have it. Spray the undersides of the leaves in the early morning or evening, never in hot afternoon sun. Spray again 3 days later to catch the generation that just hatched. And never spray when temperatures are above 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Salt and intense sun together will scorch your leaves faster than any pest will. Ants are a completely different animal. You cannot dry out an ant the way you do a slug. An ant has a hard shell that baking soda cannot penetrate from the outside, so the trick is to get it inside. Mix baking soda with an equal amount of powdered sugar, half and half, and set it out in a jar lid right where the ants are traveling. The sugar is the bait, and they cannot tell it apart from pure sugar. They carry the whole mixture back to the nest and share it with the colony. The baking soda goes right along and disrupts their chemistry from the inside out. You are not killing the scouts you can see. You are reaching the thousands you cannot. Keep the bait dry, keep it away from pets and children, and refresh it every few days. Slower than chemicals, but it costs almost nothing. For chewing pests like cabbage worms on your kale and greens, mix baking soda half and half with plain flour and dust it lightly over the leaves. The surface becomes alkaline and deeply unpleasant to eat. They take a few bites and move on. Reapply after rain because it washes off. Now, here is the part that surprised me most, and it is backed by real research. Every humid summer, powdery mildew shows up as a white, dusty film on squash, cucumbers, zinnias, and roses, slowly choking the life out of them. In 1985, a plant pathologist at Cornell University began testing sodium bicarbonate against powdery mildew. The finding was straightforward. Baking soda raises the pH on the leaf surface, and fungal spores cannot get established there. The work was significant enough that the Environmental Protection Agency officially registered sodium bicarbonate as a fungicide. Here is what the garden industry hopes you never connect. That same researcher later concluded that potassium bicarbonate worked even better because it leaves no sodium in the soil. That research was eventually turned into a bottled product, selling for $15 to $20. Same science, different price tag. The formula you can make at home is 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of mild soap or horticultural oil in 1 gallon of water. Spray every 1 to 2 weeks before you ever see mildew. Prevention is where it works. Once mildew has taken over the leaf heavily, you are past the point where this will save it. Before I put the whole plan together for you, there are 2 more things baking soda can do that most gardeners never think about. If your pruning shears or your trowel have started to rust, soak them in white vinegar for 2 hours. Then scrub with a paste made from baking soda and water. Rinse clean and dry thoroughly. No need to spend $10 to $15 on a chemical rust remover. And between pruning sessions, wiping your blades with a diluted baking soda solution stops fungal spores from traveling from one plant to the next. Here is one more. If you want to know whether your soil is acidic, before you spend $15 to $25 on a pH testing kit, grab a handful of damp soil and sprinkle dry baking soda on it. If it fizzes, your soil is acidic, meaning the pH is below 7. 30 seconds, and it costs nothing. Now I want to be honest with you, because that honesty is what makes this worth your time. Baking soda is not magic. If your garden is already overrun by a full-blown infestation, it will not save you. If you have carpenter ants or termites in the wood of your house, or boring beetles destroying a mature tree, you need a professional. A pest control visit runs between $150 and $300, and for the right problem, that money is well spent. The point is not that you never spend money. The point is that you stop spending it on the wrong things, on the small, everyday problems that a $1 box has been able to handle all along. So here is the whole plan, plain and simple. For slugs, a thin dusting of dry baking soda in the evening around the base of plants. For aphids, 1 quart of water with 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of mild soap sprayed on the undersides of leaves and repeated after 3 days. For ants, equal parts baking soda and powdered sugar set out dry along their trail. For chewing worms, baking soda mixed half and half with flour dusted over the leaves. For powdery mildew, 1 tablespoon of baking soda with a teaspoon of mild soap or oil in 1 gallon of water, sprayed every 1 to 2 weeks as prevention. For rusty tools, a baking soda paste with vinegar, scrub, and rinse. And to test your soil, a pinch of baking soda on damp earth. If it fizzes, your soil is acidic. That is the whole arsenal. Total cost, a couple of dollars. This knowledge did not disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because someone figured out how to put it in a bottle and sell it back to you. You are not being cheap when you reach for baking soda. You are being smart. You are the kind of gardener who refuses to keep paying for what you already own. Do me one favor in the comments below. Tell me what state you are gardening in, and which pest is your biggest problem this season. Aphids, slugs, ants, or something chewing through your greens. I read every single comment. And if this helped you, share it with one gardener you know. They will thank you for it. Next time I am going to show you something even cheaper than baking soda. Something most people throw straight into the trash every single morning, that our grandparents used to keep cutworms from ever touching a tomato seedling. You will not want to miss it.